there was this article in TechCrunch last week that stated that O3 and O4 from ChatGPT are actually getting worse on hallucinations than prior models. Why is that? And how do you defend against that? And how do investors develop trust
Yeah.
to use these tools? We're not building marketing copy for a lemonade stand where hallucinations are fine. Like,
Yeah.
really, we're dealing with mission critical information, deploying, our dear, allocator capital of which we have a fiduciary duty, and hallucinations can really be career ending if they're not caught in certain contexts.
So a couple of thoughts on this. One, uh, I saw that take that, oh, on this benchmark, O3 is performing worse. That may be a statistical blip, I believe, and the long view on the benchmarks supports the view that hallucination rates are decreasing by orders of magnitude, and I believe that that trend will continue.
Okay.
So that's one. There are additionally techniques that, concrete example, you can ask a language model to self-correct, and that improves fidelity downstream. You can generate a response, and then in the uh, next instruction say, "Are you sure?" And this is the kind of prompting stuff that you probably know about, but it's like, goodness, this is not a good use of anybody's time to have to do this. And so you can automate that process. And so there are techniques for reducing uh, hallucination rates with respect to the frontier models. Those are also changing over time. The real answer to the question is product affordances that allow you to see the primary source and ask clarifying questions so that you can corroborate surprising findings from multiple different perspectives. And ultimately, if you can't, it has to be a flexible interface that allows you to ask those follow-up questions. And if something is surprising, um, understand it from multiple different perspectives. And at the same time, I would say, like, um, you can't wash your hands of responsibility for the primary. So this is like somebody who works for you, who, at this point, it's still that associate level talent. And you can't just say, I'm sure it's fine, ship it. The last thing I'll say is, like, use language models for the things that they're great at. Your point about, like, financial modeling is really well made. Like, if you've got, this is kind of a private markets use case, but if you've got a customer cube, a list of customers, like, goodness, Excel is great for getting the top five. Like, you don't need to use a GPU to do that. And so I think it's about, to your point about workflow, understanding where these things are great, and understanding where other tools are more appropriate, and then striking the right balance. And that's why we see um, the most sophisticated investors getting off the sidelines early and not letting these kinds of issues, which you can't be dismissive of, like the correctness is, like, non-negotiable on a certain level. But if you wait 2 years until the hallucination rates are six nines, you're going to be so far behind the curve in terms of how do we actually integrate this at our business.
Yeah.
And so that openness to experimentation, I think, is really important.